All right. Welcome everyone to the March 9th Utilities Committee meeting. We're getting started with the DOH DWSRF loan update.
Okay, so we've got, I think, pretty good news on both of these. I think we reported last time that we had had conversations with the Department of Health on our current well 13 loan and our application that we turned in for well 11. So where we're at currently is we were unsuccessful, even though Jackie put a really good application together on well 13 construction. I think we applied for 5 million. We were literally a 1.5 points under the scoring line. But what health has asked us to do, and Jackie's currently working on, is to put the paperwork in for a $500,000 pre-construction. And by doing that, that's a $500,000 that's going to go towards our current contract with Murray Smith to get this to ad ready. The real benefit, other than this is a low interest loan to get this design, the bigger benefit is now Department of Health has
committed to the project.
Committed to the project. I was going to use a different term, but now they're invested, and it will make scoring now for the 5 million that we can ask for next year. We will score much better. So I think by doing this pre-construction, I think this is really gonna give us a very high success rate in getting this $5 million to get that well 11 online. Initially at the 750 gallons a minute until we get the water rights and foster resolve, but we're going to design it such that it'll literally be a plug and play to then ramp it up to 1500. So that's kind of where we're at on well 11. I'm feeling really good about where we're at.
And a quick update, that application for the 500,000 pre-construction loan was submitted today.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, cool. And we have a really good chance of getting it then, right?
They've practically assured us that we're going to get it.
Yeah,
Cool. Good job.
And then on the well 13, we are currently in the process of closing that out. Jackie's also working on the scope reduction with Department of Health, basically taking that reduction of the 4 major contracts, reducing the final phase, which is putting the getting the treatment and the pumping, because we found out that even if we got the treatment and pumping going without water rights, we wouldn't be able to turn the system on anyway. And Department of Health was getting very concerned that this was their longest, I guess, standing loan. I think there's a banker's term for when it's on the books too long, it's stale or something. They needed this resolved, and so we mutually agreed to terminate the current $6 million loan, close it out, and then, because again, they're invested in this project, as soon as we know that Foster is going to be successful, and we'll know, and to me, the bigger issue is we're going to know what mitigation and augmentation we're going to need to do. Then that can lead to us actually applying for this final design phase. Because even if we continued with this project and we got it online by the end of this year, we would still have this augmentation and mitigation plan that we would have to come back and retrofit later. So it just makes more sense to shut it down, see what happens, then include the augmentation mitigation requirements of Foster with the final design, and then we just get it done and get it online. So I have no idea when that's going to happen, because Foster is a big question mark.
So for sure not this year.
No, we will be shutting the program down this year. My guess is 2023 maybe, that we'll apply for money to do the final. And I think we can do this, Jackie, that I think we can take, it doesn't have to be all construction. I think we can, and if we can't, then we'll just fund the design that final piece ourselves and then do the construction. But it'll be a match of local and loan. But my guess is 2023 before we start that final design and construction. But that's a guess.
Water, water everywhere.
Let's do it before the interest rate goes up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Splash pad, we just sent to Murray Smith, the front end docs. So they are close to getting the addendum out. As soon as we get the addendum, I'm hoping that basically we haven't even advertised yet. We're going to advertise the current construction documents with an addendum that had the VE. And my guess is we should be able to get that advertised in April. I'm going to say April, so that we can get the bids in and so that we're under construction this spring and summer. And, you know, I'm not sure how long it'll take, but we'll see how that works with us opening the park based on COVID rules and things of that nature. So
I don't anticipate that taking an awful long time for retrofitting that, Mark, because all of the parts are readily available to like any private well system.
yeah, the longest lead item is really going to be building that block building.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so we, you know, I would say that we should have the system in line at least for August, September, which it sounds like that's going to dovetail pretty well with probably the governor's, because even if we go to phase 3, I don't think that means we're opening up pools and things. So I think we're going to be okay without too many people pushing back. But I would say we should definitely be open by August and September with the new system.
Okay,
And,
happy news.
and then the McCormick pump station 1 and 2, there's really no updates on that other than on pump station 1, McCormick Communities continues to address the punch list items. And they are looking to release their current performance bond, and in place, that was for the whole project, take their current performance bond and issue a new performance bond just for the 2 outstanding punch list items. And then,
Mark, I would hesitate to do that until we've got them at least, I mean, we've been a year and they haven't started working on the dang thing.
oh no, we're not, until we get an actual design for the repairs and an estimate, and then a bond based on that. Yeah, we won't do it. We're still holding on to the full.
And a work schedule.
Yeah, that'll all be required. And then on McCormick 2, we're very close to completing the punch list on that. Both 1 and 2 are functioning. They're operational. We're just doing project closeout, releasing of bonds. On pump station 2, we need to release their performance bond and then get a 2-year maintenance bond in place there. McCormick campus station, the 580 tank, you know, the water campus, 580 tank in the well in the main. 580 tank, I think you've got a picture in your packet that shows, you know, that they're moving along. I know that they're still finishing up certain aspects of the project. I know
I
that
talked to Eric yesterday.
We're waiting
Yeah.
for BHC's review of the seismic protections on it too, that are gonna need to be installed.
okay, and then Rob.
Eric indicated to me that they're going through some testing of it. And they're 60 days out at the most for it to be operational. And we were talking about a joint press release when we turn the valve on, I guess.
Okay, well, there's several steps that need to happen before we're ready to announce that, yay, we got a new tank online. I mean,
Okay, so I'll make sure he's communicating with you too.
yeah, well, Greg communicates with me. I haven't heard from Eric, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's steps that we have to jump through with health, and the tank and everything. So anyway, the good news is that project is moving along great, and Bremerton is committed to keeping it full. Well 12 is just basically stopped at the pilot hole. And then, and on the main, I think we have a pre-construction this week.
Yes, we do.
And so that's good news because that's the water main that's gonna run down from the 580 down to the McCormick well reservoir or well field where we have 1, 2, and 3 currently, but 11. And then once that main's in, they will be, we'll have the ability then to turn the main in Clifton over to the city of Bremerton when the time is right. And with everything that's going on out there, they've started construction on the Campus Parkway roundabout, and that's the Campus Parkway in McCormick West. So they're really moving ahead on McCormick West and McCormick North, the first phase of McCormick North, getting that Campus Parkway road built. And for any of us that remember, I think John and I talked about it last time when we saw that Ron Siepko had opened up that Campus Parkway road to serve his Northwest corporate campus, and it sat like that for decades. It's really great to see that roundabout going in and that road actually being built. So that's good both on the transportation and the utility front.
Mark,
Yeah.
you skipped over the Marina funding. Are you coming back to that, or you're?
Oh, sorry about that. Marina Pump Station, it's similar to the Department of Health. We're dealing with the Department of Ecology. We had a really good meeting, a second meeting with them specific to the funding. And we are right now in the process of doing the same thing. We're going to be potentially closing out the current loan, 4.1 million, and basically getting a new loan for 12 or 13 million. So more to come on that. What they recognized was when we did have that spill event during that high rainfall period, that the new system that they're going to approve, and they won't approve it without it, is they won't approve the system without closing off that overflow, which means the additional storage that we had valued out at one point through the value engineering, and some additional ADA confined space issues that are going to require a revision. So, we had this at 6 million, then 7 million, then 15 million, and then back down to 7. Well, it's creeped back up to 12. But Ecology knows that they want this project done. They know that it's the most critical infrastructure piece for our sewer system other than the treatment plant. And they're committed to funding the entire project. So the last we heard, they were going to go back and get their heads together, but I would be surprised if we don't get at least 11 million, which makes Noah happy, because we were going to struggle to fund the new project that was going to require this additional storage, adding that component back in.
11 million grant or loan? That's a loan.
It's a loan. Noah and I were talking about it, and preliminary indications, this is 50-year infrastructure, we hope, or more, and a 30-year loan, and it was 2.6% is what I'd last heard, but
yeah.
The deal's not done yet. So
yeah, 2.6 at 30 and 2.2 at 20.
What's the timeline again on the Marina Pump Station? I know that it's been it's one of those things where we pray every night that it won't fail.
a year.
I mean, if you go back, we had 6 million at one time, and then the fires in Eastern Washington took that grant money away.
Mark, that wasn't the question. He wants to know when we're going to break ground. It's about a year and a half.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I was just providing some background for Jay. So yeah, we're now at the point to where DOE knows this is critical infrastructure. And we're hoping to get this, design done this year and then start construction if we can get this additional funding.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sydney Avenue repair, that project is out on the street. We issued an addendum today, which is number 2, to add some additional time. We're not getting very much response, so like 0.
Well, what do you mean by not getting very much response? I'm not sure.
Nobody's picking up the plans from the Builders Exchange or making inquiries. So we're going to provide additional time, and if we don't get any bids, then that gives us the ability to go directly to a contractor.
Yeah, but if we get 1 or 2 bids, that's really bad because then we'll have to take.
Well, we can always reject those. So, yeah. So we're just in this scenario where it's a bit of an odd project as far as it doesn't pay a lot, but it's kind of a challenging project, time and coordination wise. So we're making phone calls to our contacts to say, hey, make sure you see this.
So Mark, does that mean there will not be a bid opening on Thursday?
I don't think so. Check with Chris. That addendum that went out today, I thought that changed it.
The only thing that, okay, I will check. The only thing I saw was the Zoom connection for people to be able to log into the bid opening. I didn't see anything else.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah, double check. I thought we were providing additional time. So
Okay.
How much additional time, Mark?
Mhm.
like a week.
Okay.
We're not in any danger of catastrophic failure on that section of road or anything, are we?
No, we've got the road, the sinkhole basically closed off for safety reasons as far as motorcycles and things. We have a detour route around it. So
We've just moved over into the parking lane.
Right. Yeah, but I just was wondering from a short term or a long term.
no,
Thank-
no,
okay.
we're actively moving ahead on the project. We're trying to give ourselves time to, we want an active bidding climate. Okay, Foster. I'm gonna we had a meeting last week where what was it, the draft mitigation plan, Jackie, is?
No, actually, no, it's not the mitigation plan. What it is that the hydrogeologists have now finished using the groundwater model to set up the scenarios whereby if we pump from here for this many gallons a minute and don't use this well as much, and different scenarios about how we can operate our system so that we could find the optimum way to operate that will require us to do the least amount of mitigation and augmentation. So that was the meeting. They presented all the information to us last week. And I'm in the process of trying to set up a meeting with all of the tribes, which are the Squaxin Islands, Suquamish, Sklallam, and Skokomish, because we show an effect on the Union River also, and Fish and Wildlife, along with Bremerton, West Sound, Utility District, Department of Ecology, and then us and the hydrogeologists. And that looks like that's going to take place probably on the 13th of April. So we're trying to have the tribes and Fish and Wildlife and Ecology understand what we're doing and why we've chosen the operating system or the operating protocols that we have. And then we'll go down the path of looking for the second step, of course, is looking for water rights that we may acquire to put that back into basically a bank. And then the third step is the mitigation strategies. So we're just trying to keep transparency in everything that we're doing to try and minimize any pushback that we're going to get. So
Right.
That's where we're at.
And at some point, we will be bringing this groundwater model forward. We'll bring an abbreviated version. but it does have a number of different scenarios that were ran through in a groundwater modeling. And I think they've really honed down on one or two that are only viable. So
Yeah,
that's,
but the path going forward now is that Tony and Alan, Rickett, and I are going to go through the scenarios, and I just want another couple sets of eyes looking at it to see if they see the same thing I do, that these are obviously the best two scenarios to use so that we can have Robinson Noble focus on those for the presentation to the tribes and Fish and Wildlife.
correct. We don't want to have we don't want to have a scenario that requires, massive public works staff time, care and feeding, going out on Saturdays and turning a valve, and we need an operational set of eyes on it. So
Exactly. And the other side of the coin too is that somebody else is trying to get in here. The other side of the coin is that both West Sound Utility District, who has a RFQ out right now for hydrogeologic services, and I suggested to them that both Bremerton and Port Orchard uses Robinson Noble, so there would be a continuity of information if they were to look at Robinson Noble. But we know that we're going to be working cooperatively with Bremerton and West Sound as far as any stream augmentation and mitigation projects that we need to do, because they're looking for water rights and are going to have to augment in ours too, so we can, wash each other's hands basically.
okay, so that's it on Foster. Clear as mud.
I love giving reports after this meeting. And what did you learn? Well,
I do have a question. I've tried to
if this happens and this happens.
So we may want to know who's on the iPhone here.
Probably Noah.
Is it
That's
Noah?
me. Can you hear me?
Hi, me.
That
Hi.
no-
It looked like Noah to me.
Yeah, it looks just like you.
Cindy had a quick question for Jackie. I've looked at some of the stuff today on the Foster. Is there, like a quick primer on it? It's not an easy thing to understand. And I was trying to explain it to somebody the other day, and I went, I've got to get a little bit smarter on this. Is there,
There's really not that I've ever seen. The easiest way that I've found to explain it is that basically Department of Ecology historically used a concept called OCPI, or overriding consideration of public interest. And through the courts have decided that they can't use that. So they're looking for an alternative. And they think the alternative, and that's where the Fosters come in, they're like the 5 test cases, to see about using some mitigation strategies under the concept of NEB, or net ecological benefit, which basically would take the place of OCPI and be more directly beneficial to the area that's affected. Because what the court said was you can't use OCPI, you have to use in kind, in time, in place, which isn't always possible. And that's the concept that was given to the Joint Task Force. And that's why they set out to try this net ecological benefit.
Right, especially when you go into deeper aquifers, where we're having to somehow augment all the way down to Shelton.
Yeah.
So
That help you, Jay?
only that it's crazy. But when we were talking about the Union tribe, I was going, what?
Yeah.
let me just say this, that this is an extremely important legislative priority to get this resolved, because if it doesn't, you theoretically could see the state of Washington under a statewide water moratorium. So this has to be successful.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, we talked about Foster. Okay, utility department program updates. And Noah, just since you were late, I'll just let you know that we already talked about where we're at with the Department of Health on 11 and 13, and where we're at with ecology on Marina Pump Station. And I haven't heard anything from David yet on, the chances of us getting the 12 million or not. Have you heard anything back?
No, I haven't heard anything either. So
Okay,
Just wait.
I'm hopeful it's gonna, I'm optimistic, but we haven't heard anything yet.
Well, Zach and I are planning tomorrow morning to do all of the work in Eagle, which for those of you that may not be aware, that's Department of Ecology's online funding assistance program that's very difficult to operate. So Zach does most of our stuff, and we're going to sit together, and I'm going to give him what needs to go in there, and he's going to put it in. So
Yeah, that's that SAWS.
well, SAW is Secure Access Washington, and when you have an account in SAW, you can go into the DWSRF or Eagle. Those two are linked into it.
But you gotta be proficient in SAWS just to get to Eagle.
Yeah, well, I can handle SAW, but not Eagle.
I thought it was the other way around.
Well, if
Okay,
you want to talk about federal transportation, I could throw a whole bunch of acronyms out here too. So
that's good. Secure Act of Washington is that SAWS. It's
Secure Access. It's Secure Access.
Secure Access, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, utility department update. So the stormwater comprehensive plan is moving forward. The water capital improvement projects. So I guess on this, Jackie, can you bring up that utility department program?
Oh, sure. Hang on just one second. I was ready with the spreadsheet, but I wasn't ready with that. Sorry.
That's all right. I think it'd make more sense going through this last topic with that up.
I put it on my desktop so I'd have it. Darn it.
It was in our packet?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes.
we've all got it, right? We've got it.
Oh, of course it's in the packet. I can just share the packet.
So
Yeah.
we don't really need it.
Oh, okay.
I want to be able to see it though.
I
Oh,
see.
you want to, okay. Hang on just a second, Mark, and I'll bring it up.
Yeah, I want to explain it so that, this is not necessarily a throwaway for you. There it is. So that you can keep this pinned up on your bulletin board. Okay, so what this is things were getting really confusing. Okay, right there. Things were getting really confusing with all the acronyms, the water CIPs, the sewer CIPs, the water CFCs, everything. And then as far, the general sewer plan, the GSP. And so I prepared this initially just so that I could keep track. And what I've done now is I've turned this now into a red light, green light document. So as you go down through it, and I won't go on the agenda, everything in here is in here. I'm just going to go down this sheet. So the water capital facility charges, we've gone through that. The city adopted that by ordinance. So we have our,
I think you mean sewer.
sewer capital facility charges, that's been done. And that was based on the updated capital improvement project that was in the general sewer plan amendment. So you'll see that under sewer CFCs, that body of work is done. The sewer credits, we've also had the discussion and the adoption under that ordinance. So that work is done. And then you can skip down then to the sewer general, the general sewer plan. Ecology approved that, and then we adopted that. So all the work in green is done for sewer right now, other than sewer and water rates. The storm plan or comprehensive plan, you can see that we've hired the consultant, and now we're going to go through this process of getting it approved by the Department of Ecology, having presentations, having hearings, and then ultimately adopting the plan. And you can see that I've got a 2022, 2023 timeline. And the adoption into the comp plan, that's adoption into the city's comprehensive plan update that Nick does every year. So that's what's happening in 2023. Under the water capital improvement plan and CFCs, you can see that that's all red. because we did have an initial discussion on the 9th, or we're having a discussion tonight on the 9th. I'm still waiting for a proposal from our consultant, but we have selected Katie Isaacs and Associates. And again, we'll kind of go through this 2021 work plan to get the capital improvement plan, the CIP list adopted, and the CFCs. And that's going to have to incur prior to the state approving our water system plan. You can see that that's not going to happen. If you go down to the bottom, DOH approval, that's not going to happen until fall. And so we determined in talking to others, including our city attorney, that we have the ability to go through this water CIP, water CFC process and adoption prior to the actual system plan being approved, because that's just within one chapter of the plan that health doesn't really provide input on. So we're moving ahead with that. Once we get that body of work done, we'll be concurrently working on then the water credit process, just like we did with the sewer, where we did the sewer CIPs, the sewer CFCs, and then did the credits. We'll do the same with water. So as we're going through that, then the main big task out in front of us is to move ahead with the water sewer rates, which, going back to the Katie Isaacson contract, she will be working with us on the CIP CFC process, but also main part of her work will be looking at water and sewer rates. So I anticipate that we'll be talking about water and sewer rates this summer, after we get the CIPs and the CFCs and the credits potentially completed, or concurrently. And then again, the water system plan will be on the last page, Jackie? Or is that it?
I'm sorry, the water system plan is down at the bottom.
Is that the very bottom?
Yeah, let me move it down for you.
I thought there was one thing that, oh, it's just that, oh, yeah. So now so with the water system plan update, we go through that process with, once health is approved, and then we go through our own adoption, and then it gets into next comprehensive plan. And then this last item added is just, even though we just did a sewer plan amendment, this is what we've got in the budget to go through in 2022 to actually do our update. But that should be a simpler plan to do the update, since we've already got the amendment done. So we'll be doing that in 2022. And again, that will be ready to go into next 2023 comprehensive plan update. So this is a living document. So I'll be bringing this back, hopefully with a lot more green and a lot less red in the future.
So just FYI, whoever is that still Noah on the phone? Signed in differently, because there was a lot of feedback, so I muted you from here.
Okay. I'm assuming that might be Noah
It was Noah,
that came in on a different line.
but once Jackie muted him, all of the garbling sound went away.
Right.
Noah. Is that Noah?
Noah.
Yeah, that's me. Just mute me.
Okay. Okay, well, this was a fairly quick meeting and overview, so I guess we'll take questions.
Yeah, I just actually wanted to make a comment, Mark. I think this is a really great as a living document. It kind of helps, puts the flow, what do you say, policy
Meeting, but
Right.
whether it's an ordinance or a resolution. So this is giving you, those are the council actions that we're going to be coming to you. Gives you kind of the, you know, where
Yep.
we're coming to council. So yeah, I've got this pinned up on my bulletin board here, and I'll just keep changing it as we work through it. So really, I think that's it, unless we've got additional questions.
No, I have a quick comment. If you notice at the very bottom of the agenda for future meeting items, I added water system consolidation study. And I just wanted to give you a really quick update because something just happened today since the agenda went out. And that is the consultant doing this consolidation study tells me that he should have the preliminary study to me by the end of this week or first part of next week. So we will be completing that in March, which will give us the information that we need to go on to look at potential programs where we might find some money to consolidate the two systems.
Yeah, and I guess I'll add to that when Jackie got that grant, the consolidation conversation was really kind of out there. But with some recent project development in the joint planning area and in McCormick, that study is becoming much more on the critical path. So as far as, so we're going to be, I guess, as a hold the pin in the hand grenade and throw it out there. I think we'll be dealing with the fluoridation conversation and how you want to handle that sooner than later.
Are we going to do a survey for that?
Well, that'll be at your direction. I know that we determined that you're not required to do a survey or do a vote. We did one before. If you're looking for staff advice, I would say no, but that's not my decision to make. I think.
Mark, why is it going to become an issue? Aren't we going to be separating from Bremerton? Or will we always have this intertie?
The plan going forward, if I could jump in there, I know you said Mark, but the plan going forward is to have Bremerton still be connected, but it would be an emergency intertie whereby we could get water from them, but they won't take water from us because they have had a vote that voted down fluoride.
Right. So that was the whole issue of why we're not fluoridating the connection to the west of us.
Right.
It was because of the intertie with Bremerton, but once that goes away.
You're right. That's going to be a big question. Is it? Are the risks going to outweigh the rewards on removing that intertie?
The risks, and the other thing to look at too is the cost versus the cost benefit of fluoridation at all, because especially in the McCormick area, I would say upwards of 60% of the water goes on the ground in the summertime.
Yeah, because of irrigation. Anyway, we're going to have the conversation. Our intertie with West Sound obviously isn't a problem because West Sound has fluoridation and so do we.
Right.
But to remove the intertie with Bremerton might be problematic if we do. So if McCormick ends up having fluoride, or we either have to we can't have the intertie with Bremerton, and if we didn't have fluoride with McCormick, we would have to not do fluoride throughout the city. Once we bring the 390 up to the 580, McCormick's going to have fluoride. So at that point, we would have to disconnect.
Well, is the expectation that once we get this system built out, that we would need to continue, or would we ever feed water to Bremerton?
Right. That's the point. Is right now we have a two-way intertie, and we could make that a one-way intertie, so that in an emergency we could get unfluoridated water from Bremerton.
Right.
Yeah. So
I thought that's what we were trying to work towards. Once Bremerton has a tank, then they will have sufficient to meet the fire flow, which is what we've been drinking their water, and they've been having the benefit of our fire flow if they need it.
Yes, yeah, we're still moving towards that plan of consolidating the 580 and the 390.
Right.
Doing a one-way intertie with Bremerton. I guess this is more of a, as we go through that process, the fluoridation issue will come up, and it's easily handled with the one-way intertie and with McCormick having fluoride.
That's what I was assuming, that, why isn't it an issue once we get these systems theoretically disconnected? But I appreciate the emergency connection.
Right, I just know that I'm sure that when we connect the 580 with the 390 and McCormick becomes fluoridated,
Part of the city.
there'll be some questions, because when we did the survey, remember, it was very contentious. So I'm just kind of saying that at some point we will have those conversations and we'll have to work through that. But the direction that I'm looking at is just as we've summarized. Cindy?
Clark, if we are fluoridating and we needed to stop for some reason, how long would it take for the system to clear?
I think our oldest water in the system is about 24 hours, 24 to 36 hours.
So see, that isn't really that big of a deal, because if we cleared the system in an emergency of some sort, then we would not have the fluoride in the system, correct?
Well, right, but there'll be no reason for us to supply Bremerton water
Right.
once we disconnect.
Right.
But there may be a need for us to get water from them, especially until we get the well 12 online
Right.
and the 660. So yeah, we'll want to and it's fairly easy to turn that into a one-way intertie.
Yeah, as far as bringing in water from Bremerton, that's not an issue as far as fluoridation is concerned.
Right.
And we've already, we took that survey citywide, and although it was close, we made the decision, go ahead and fluoridate. So it's a city question as far as I'm concerned, and then we've already taken that question on.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
I just know that I'm sure I'll start getting emails or letters from some people in McCormick that are unhappy about it, but.
Well, you got a response. We went through that survey process and we
They
made the
can put
decision.
filters on their faucets and things.
Well, there are things that they can do, but again, John's right. We did do the survey, and it was, 62, 58 or whatever it was, it was close. That's not right. 62, 38. I should know math. So, but yeah, so again, that's the direction we're going.
Yeah.
Plus, a lot of the new building will involve families, and fluoridation is especially useful for children and their teeth.
Yeah, I'm sure that there'll be requests to do a vote or do a new survey. I'm sure there will be. So I just wanted to remind you that it was contentious last time, because it is anywhere the conversation is brought up. I've never been called a fascist before, but I was called a fascist when we were doing a survey by a gentleman with a cane, and he tried to hit me with a cane and call me a fascist because we were doing the survey. So it's an emotional subject for people.
Right, but the decision's been made, so I don't want to look for trouble. So,
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I hear you loud and clear. Neither do I. I don't want to get hit with a cane again. So.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Well, I think we're
Done?
done, unless there's more questions.
Appreciate it.
Okay, that's 5:48. Okay, thank you, Jack.
Okay.
Yeah,
See you in
Mark-
about
Mark,
Thank you,
would you
guys.
five